consistently the East have the best players in the last quarters, semis, and finals. We can see our results from the Eastern players at the highest levels from college, with the obvious one, Michael Jang. But there's many, many, many others on the way. So, firstly, I want to say, Benjamin, thanks for your time. It's awesome to have you here. I know you've been a part of the Eastern section for a very long time. You've seen all these good players come through. I've got a ton of questions for you myself once you're over the presentation. But I think this is really exciting. Tennis is changing. All of the big colleges are in the area. As we all know, the East Coast has these great schools everywhere. And most of the kids on this call will be hoping to play at college, which is the legitimate step to professional tennis. So I think we're going to have some good questions. Enough from me for now. Ben, we love having you, mate. How's everything going?
Absolutely. Great, Conrad. Thank you and Ari for having me. Always great to talk to our parents in the section and, just talk about USTA Eastern and, kind of what we can do to just help put your kids on this path to success. Like Conrad, you kind of alluded to there, USTA Eastern, we look at our whole junior, competitive structure as a pathway, right? Starting from our junior circuit, red, orange, green ball, all the way up to our 12 to 18 junior tournaments, all the way to, college play, whether, Division 1, 2, 3, junior college, NAIA, or tennis on campus programs. And then, as an adult leagues, adult tournaments, we really run the gamut here from, all of this tennis programming in the East. Also our camp pathway we'll talk about, which, Centercourt is a big partner with our junior camp. So without further ado, I will get into it. Conrad, Ari, if there's any questions, that come up in the chat as we go along, feel free to stop me, and happy to, take them as they come in, or we can wait until the end. I know we had some questions submitted ahead of time. All right. So the USTA Eastern mission, in line with the national USTA mission, growing tennis to inspire healthier people and communities everywhere. It's not just about winning, of course that's nice, but we just want our kids out on the court, playing, growing as individuals, and hopefully just leading a healthy lifestyle. I know for me personally, I grew up playing with my parents. That's why I became such a big, ambassador for the sport, a love of the sport. It's something that I want to pass on to my kids. And, it's what makes me excited about, waking up every morning and helping, further USTA and USTA Eastern, and just bringing the sport to the masses, a sport that's so meaningful to me and my own personal journey. For those who aren't familiar, the USTA is broken down into, I believe it is 17 sectional organizations around the country. We are in the Eastern section, which encompasses all of New York State, New Jersey, down to like the Philly suburbs area, but like central northern Jersey, and then Greenwich, Connecticut. The section is then further divided into regions: Long Island, Metro, New Jersey, Northern, Upstate New York, Western, Upstate New York, and Southern, like a little bit, like Orange County, Rockland County, that bottom, above the city, but not quite upstate just yet. My name is Ben Schleider. My title has changed since I took this capture here. I'm now the manager of the competitive pathway. Our fearless leader, Julie Bliss-Biel, who has been in the section for more than 25 years at this point. She is our managing director of strategy and competition. On my team is Nina D'Amato. She has also changed her title recently. She is our coordinator in the competitive play department. Lauren Bull is helping with our competitive tennis ops. You see Susan Friedlander and Joey Binder here. They're our adult comp team, and Lynn Buffamonte, tennis on campus, kind of the auxiliary programs. Not listed here is a new team member. His name is Connor Griff. He is a recent grad from Hamilton College, where he was number one singles of his tennis team, from Harrison High School, where he was top of the section for a long time. He is now joining us to kind of spearhead our high school and college efforts, as well as our team events. So Safe Play, and we'll pause to play this video. But for those who aren't familiar, Safe Play is a program for coaches, tournament directors, any parents, kids. It's really for anybody that's operating in a position of power over kids at our tournaments. We want to get Safe Play approved. It is a requirement of our tournament directors. Ari, Conrad, I think most of your team is probably Safe Play approved. Our officials are all Safe Play approved, but it's a vital, touch point of just making sure that our kids are in good hands at our tournaments. So I'll just play this really quick video here with some fun tennis parents about what Safe Play is.
A great coach is humble, kind, honest, and you feel that your child is safe around them.
You're trying to find someone else to help your child, and who do you trust?
You want to make sure that you have a coach that understands how to create a safe environment.
You're trying to identify a personality fit. You want to make sure they're knowledgeable, they have a good work ethic, and you're really trying to find somebody that when you're not looking, they're doing the right things.
I think it helps everybody. Protects the kids, but it also makes parents and coaches more aware too.
You can see not only is your coach Safe Play approved, but also you can take a 30-minute training yourself so that you can know how to contribute to a safe environment.
To know that the education has been provided for these people, the background checks have been applied.
The court is often a home away from home for a lot of our athletes, so it's really up to us to make sure that we make it feel as safe as it is at their own home.
Nothing beats knowing. Know your coach's Safe Play status today. Visit USTA.com/SafePlay.
All right, I'd like to give that shout out to Safe Play there before we dive into all of our programs here. So like I mentioned earlier, our junior competitive pathway is broken down by our 10 and under programming and junior circuit. That's our red, orange, and green ball, junior team tennis, our junior tournaments, and our team camps through the player development space. In order to register for your first USTA Eastern tournament, you do need a USTA membership. It is free for juniors 18 and under. Or, for adults, if you'd like one as well, there is a fee, and then you can link your child to your account. Again, it is required for sanctioned events, but it will allow you to qualify for tournament rankings and have some tools to just keep track of how you're doing right on the USTA site. To that end, the USTA Tennis app allows you to, do a lot of what you're doing on the website just on the go. As a tennis parent, checking your schedule, managing your registrations, keeping up to date with rankings, player violations, inviting doubles partners for doubles events, withdrawing from tournament, all things you can do on the USTA app. All right, so starting with our 10 and under junior circuit, again, this is our red, orange, mostly orange and green ball tournament space. This is kind of separate from the 12 to 18 sanctioned tournament space. You are not earning ranking points. You are earning play tracker points that are graduating you from red to orange to green and then eventually to yellow. This is a great series, video series that we created a couple years ago, which with Coach Gary, and to talk about what the 10 and under pathway looks like, what you might expect at your first tournament. So I will quickly run through this video as well, but I think this is a great video to, show your kids right before, that first tournament and kind of set those expectations.
Welcome to your first USTA tournament. I'm Coach Gary, and I'm going to be taking you through what to expect in your very first event. Tennis is a lifelong sport. It's going to connect you with some amazing people and incredible places. The USTA governs our sport and offers a tournament pathway that begins at orange ball at age 7 and progresses to green ball at age 9, or if you complete your orange ball play tracker points, whichever comes first. You earn play points by participating in either orange ball or green ball events. And you get additional win points for winning matches in green ball events. Completing these requirements unlocks the next level of play. Remember, take your time, progress at your own pace. There's no rush. Ready to get started? Download the USTA app today, where you can find and register for events, check your record, and track your results. First, create an account. It's free for all juniors. Log in and search for tournaments by filtering by section, Eastern for New York, age group, and ball color, orange or green. Register for your chosen tournament and complete the payment. You will receive a confirmation email afterwards. Once you're registered, check the app and tournament homepage for the draw and start times, which are usually posted the Wednesday before the event starts. 10 and under tournaments are one-day events lasting roughly 3 to 4 hours. 10 and under events typically use a round robin or round robin and playoff format, so be prepared to play multiple matches. On tournament day, bring your racket, water, and other essentials. Check in with the tournament director at the tournament desk at least 15 minutes before your match starts. When called, retrieve the balls from the tournament desk and head to your assigned court. You'll have a brief warm-up with your opponent before the match begins. Afterwards, make sure the winner returns the balls to the tournament desk and reports the score. For more detailed and updated information, visit the USTA website.
All right, so like we talked about in the video, you're really starting orange ball junior circuit at 7 years old, and you can advance from orange to green ball by reaching 1,000 play points or automatically after turning 9 years old. And then to get from green to yellow, there's another points threshold or automatically after turning 11. You're also earning play points for playing JTT events and getting extra points for winning these events. So again, this is specific to the junior circuit pathway where you're earning play tracker points, not ranking points. Now getting into our 12 to 18 under tournaments for yellow ball. Here's another video with Coach Gary. I won't sit through right now, but again, I would recommend, before your child's first tournament to watch this with them, just to set those expectations. But it's a lot of the information we were just talking about. These tournaments start at level 7, which are one-day events, typically round robin, maybe round robin with playoffs. It's really, your intro into the tournament pathway. It is the selection is bottom up, so the lowest ranked kids or unranked kids are getting selected first, and then going up. The rest of our tournaments are top down, or could be first come first serve, where the top ranked kids are getting selected first. So level 7s, level 6s are kind of our entry level, intermediate, tournaments. First getting used to competitive play. Level 5s are, kind of that next step up. Some of the top kids in the section. Level 4s and 3s are the top players in the sections, really fighting for those top points that will let them get into our level 2s and level 1 national events. I think it's important as you're registering for tournaments to look at exactly what it is you're signing up for. Pay attention to the draw format, the scoring format, the surface, sometimes makes a difference. But we have a ton of tournaments all throughout Eastern, from up in Buffalo down to, down in Jersey where you guys are. So I'm sure that what you're looking for is out there some way. We also have doubles tournaments, team events, tournaments that are selecting with WTN rather than the standing list. So we try to have a variety of different offerings in the tournament space. Junior players will age up, as they get older. There are divisions in the 12s, 14s, 16s, and 18s, and they are able to play in that age division until the first day of the month that they would age up. So if I am 16, my birthday is April, so on April 1st of when I would turn 17, I can no longer play in 16 and under. Declaring residency, you can only declare or update your residency once per calendar year. You must declare your residency in order to play a closed USTA tournament. A closed USTA tournament is only available to players in that section. So a closed level 5 in Eastern can only have Eastern players, or a closed L4 or a closed L3. An open L5, an open L4, an open L3 would be open to players regardless of their section, regardless of where their tournament is located. So as an Eastern player, you could play an open L3 in Eastern. You could also play an open L3 in California. The national combined standing list is generally what is used for selection and seeding for all of our events. The way that this system works, it is taking into account 100% of your singles ranking points from your top 6 tournaments within the last 12 months or 52 weeks. So if I have 6 tournaments earning 50 points on each, I have 300 points. Now that 7th tournament, if I only earn 40 points, my ranking will not change because still my top 6 are 6 50-point tournaments. If that 7th tournament I earn 60 points, now I have 5 50-point tournaments and a 60-point tournament, so my ranking will go up 10 points to 310. A little tricky, and sometimes I think until you're really in the thick of it, really playing a lot of tournaments, eventually it will click. If at any point though you do have a question about your ranking and you just want to make sure it's correct, feel free to reach out and I'm happy to look at it with you. So that's it's 100% of your singles rankings and then 15% of your top 6 in doubles as well. Your ranking points earned in an older age division travel down 100%, and ranking points in the younger age division travel up 20%. You can also earn bonus points for beating players that are in the top 500 on the bonus points list. That bonus points list is updated monthly, whereas the standing list and W10 for that matter are updated weekly, usually on Wednesdays. World Tennis Number, like I mentioned, is a rating system like UTR, where it's a rating algorithm rather than a ranking based on results. So WTN, it's going to start at 40. Your very baseline player, maybe your first ever match, you start at a 40, all the way to number. While 1 would be like Carlos Alcaraz, Yannick Sinner. You have a WTN for singles and 1 for doubles, and like UTR, it's really a distillation of all of your play rather than a ranking which is based off of those 6 tournaments, right? College coaches, high school coaches, I think, are starting to use WTN rather than UTR more and more to evaluate prospects. There is, a cool website that can help you look at some stats, a little community, community tools to find players. And yeah, it's integrated into the regulations of ITF, USTA Juniors, ITA competition. And for us, in USTA Eastern, it's another tool for our tournament directors if they'd like to use something other than the national standing list for selection seeding. It's also really nice for our team events because it is a more accurate indicator of skill level than just a ranking list. You can inflate your ranking by playing a couple really good tournaments. You really can inflate your WTN. I mean, it's really taking everything into account. So our team events, we like to do our waterfall our teams based on WTN, just for the most equal teams based on skill. Junior team tennis is organized at the local level by volunteers coordinators. It's kind of outside of the scope of our typical junior pathway, but they're fun team events. You can set up a team through your local club, like at Centercourt or at your high school. It's really open to however you want to create that team, and then we hold sectional championships throughout the year. And then a big championship at the National Tennis Center. You can see a picture here from a couple years ago. Then we also have team tournaments like I'm talking about, which are within the pathway. They are just a different type of sanctioned tournament. So, for example, a college format tournament, we could have 8 teams of 4 players each. Each team has a 1 through 4 singles and a 1 and 2 doubles, and the team that wins the most matches moves on, kind of like a high school or a college event. But you're earning points based on your individual skill, not how your team does. So I think it's a good balance of getting used to playing in that team environment, maybe getting excited about playing high school or college tennis, but still you're earning points for yourself, and you're not going to lose points depending on how your team does. All of this, leading to the college pathway, like, we were mentioning at the jump. I think a great goal for so many players to play college tennis nowadays. We're seeing, Ben Shelton and Peyton Stearns. I mean, some of our top players in the States are now playing in college for a year or two before going pro. So it's no longer an alternative, pathway than the pros. It's for our top players, bringing them to the pros. Michael Zhang, how could I forget, playing at Columbia. So we do a college showcase event every November in Westchester, New York at the Sawmill Club in Mount Kisco. We have almost 50 colleges every year come set up recruiting tables. We have seminars. The kids have a chance to play in front of the coaches, and whether it's junior, senior year, and you're looking to like make that final decision, or maybe you haven't really thought about it much and you just want to just learn where to start, maybe making that recruiting video or how to send those interest emails. I think super beneficial regardless of where you are in that journey. Okay, now getting into our camp pathway. So our camps are a separate pathway from our tournaments. These are additional training opportunities for our top players in the section. Our early development camps are for 10 and under players in orange and green ball. The way these work, we have for this year, we have 3 early development camps planned. And for tournaments at those locations leading up to those camps, our tournament directors will give out golden tickets to the top kids, inviting them to take part in one of these camps. It's a great, an amazing experience to kind of get a feel for where you are as a player, to meet some of our top coaches, to work on athletic development, character building, just general tennis skills. I think a great opportunity if you have the chance. Then we have our section camps, which are for, we can offer these to more players, more aligned with a national. USTA National is actually now taken over organizing these events. We're just hosting them in the Eastern section. We have one at the National National Tennis Center, one at West Point. This selection for these based more off of the rankings, World Tennis Number recommendations from coaches on our coaches commission. You're really working with the best coaches in the section. Jay Devichetti. We've had Melanie Oden coach, Christina McHale coach. So another amazing experience for our top kids in the section. From there, we have our regional camps. So like our Eastern regional, all of the Eastern sections coming together. Last year, they played at the National Tennis Center. And then our national camps for the top kids in the country, playing down at the national campus in Orlando. So just some resources out there as parents that I would definitely recommend taking a look at with your players, whether you haven't played before or maybe you've played a ton of tournaments and you just want to kind of, refresh your mind of what's important here. I think the sportsmanship pledge is an amazing, just a good scope of the things we want to be thinking about when we're on court, not just, as a good player, but as a good person, being respectful, kind, playing with dignity, all that kind of stuff that I think is so important. We don't need to watch this video. We also have a parent pledge, which I think is very important in the junior tournament space. We're not just expecting our kids to play with good behavior. We're expecting our parents to have good behavior as well and set that positive example. We have a suspension point system, and parents, player associates, whether parents, coaches, anybody there along with a player, they can be coded in this suspension point system as well, and lead to your player getting suspension points. So I think important to just remember why we're all there at a tournament and to, emphasize that importance of fair play and good sportsmanship, regardless of who you are. Friend at Court is our overall, rules and regulations for everything USTA. Most of what we follow is in Friend at Court. If there's anything different, we have our own USTA Eastern rules and regs. I would definitely recommend taking a look at Eastern's rules and regs. And I would definitely recommend skimming through Friend at Court, but there is a ton of information there, so don't expect you to read and memorize that. This is our USTA Eastern Junior Tournament info homepage. We're putting our updated calendars on there. Our updated rules and regs, if anything's changing from national. Good page to just bookmark that we're always updating. We have a junior newsletter that goes out monthly. I would recommend subscribing to, whether to get just the updated news, see some top results from throughout the section. Just can't recommend signing up for that enough. There's also a national newsletter and a community tennis bulletin. So would recommend checking all of that stuff out. We also have the USTA player development website from national, with some great player and coach and parent resources. Anything from parent checklists of what to keep an eye out for at tournaments, players' journals, a video of, that conversation on the ride home. The parents' do's and don'ts is a great one. Navigating the junior tennis pathway as a parent, a self-evaluation exercise. I think just, more tools in the toolkit here on how to be a successful tennis parent or a coach. Okay, beyond USTA Eastern competition, I do just want to mention we have our tennis venue services grants. If you are in your community and you have some public courts that you think could use some windscreens or some repaving, please feel free to reach out. And I'm happy to put you in touch with our community team and talk to you about the opportunity to apply for some tennis venue services grants. And then USTA coaching, like RSPA or PTR. This is USTA's take on coaching education. So this is just recently rolled out. A lot more to come with that, but just did want to give a shout out to USTA coaching. Okay, that was a ton of information there, really, really quickly. But I thank you for your time and for giving me the space, Ari and Conrad. So with that, I will stop sharing and I will open the floor.
All right. Conrad, you want to go first? I got a couple questions, but I'll let you take the floor if you want.
Yeah. Really fruitful information. Thank you for that, Ben. I think for me, there's a lot of confusion for parents around, when should I move up? Let's say I'm playing L6s.
Yeah.
When should I go to 5s? When should I go to 4s? That's one question. And a second question is, if you could just describe again the points, how they travel up, not down.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So I think the beauty of the point system in that you're earning, you earn points for winning in an L7, for example, right? For winning in at level 6, you earn even more. For playing in a level 5, maybe making the quarters of a semi of a level 5, you're earning more than winning a level 6. So the way that these points are working are really guiding you along. So I would say if you're able to get into a level 5, for example, you're probably at the point of playing a level 5 or a 4 or a 3 and so on. I think also, it's a good barometer of success. If I'm playing a bunch of level 6s and I am running the floor, yeah, maybe I should play a level 5 or even, try a level 4. And I think the beauty of it again is if I go and I make it into level 4 and I lose that first match 6-0, 6-0, maybe I can get some experience playing the constellation of some more closely aligned players. Or maybe that's just me saying, hey, maybe I bit off a little more than I can chew right now. Let me take a step back and play a few more L5s. But I think, again, the beauty of it is if I have the points to be able to make a 5, a 4, a 3, or a 2 or a 1 eventually, right? Then that's probably, an appropriate level for me. As far as the points traveling up, if I'm in 12s, and I win a tournament in 12s, it's going to count 20% up to 14s or 16s or 18s. If I'm 12 years old and I win in 14s, I'm getting all of those points. So if, I'm on the cusp, maybe I'm going to turn 14 in a couple months here, and I want to see where I'm at. Am I ready to play 14s? I think it's always worth it to try a 14s tournament, because if you win, you're getting those points, and those points are staying with you even when you graduate up.
That's good. That's really clear. I think there's a lot of confusion around that. So I think a lot of coaches also need to understand that when they're helping recommend what tournaments
For sure.
to play.
I think that's a big piece of, what we do is just education overall. And whether that's, with, like you, Conrad, our facility managers, Ari, our tournament directors. I mean, that's really where I come into play. I think what I can do a better job of, what we can do a better job of in the section is that coach education. Our boots on the ground, giving these lessons, sometimes even traveling with our players. I want to make sure that they know what, our pathway is all about and giving that correct information.
Yeah, that's spot on. One more question before I give you to Ari. In the East, we have obviously got an issue with the weather, right?
Yes.
So we get a ton of people that maybe train at Centercourt or maybe they're members at Centercourt that think we have the pull to be able to put the kids into the tournament draws. Just want to make it very clear. It's done through a USTA server and the process that serves software. Could you explain that a little bit for us?
Absolutely. So it's done through a platform called Serve Tennis and then Tournament Desk. The way it works, you have seeded players are going to go onto set lines when we create the draw. So seed 1 has to go on line 1, seed 2 has to go on line 2, and then there's groups. So 3 and 4 can be on one of 2 lines, and then 5 through 8 can be on one of 2 lines. One of 4 lines, excuse me. Every other player, unseeded player, is automatically placed on a set line, randomly placed on a line regardless of their ranking. So if I am the 32nd player accepted into this tournament, I could be playing an unseeded player in round 1. I could be playing the first seed in round 1. Adversely, if I am the 9th highest ranked player, I was the first unseeded player, luck of the draw, I could end up playing the seed 1 in the first round, or I could be playing an unseeded player in the first round. Again, all the seeded players are placed on set lines. Everybody else is placed randomly. When you click that button, when you're creating a tournament, when you're creating the draw, automated draw, totally automatic.
So just to clarify, it's the luck of the draw, and Ari and Conrad have absolutely no pull in rearranging draws or putting people in more convenient positions.
100%.
Okay, very good. Ari, over to the questions, please.
All right. Yeah, I got a couple as well, and thanks for clarifying that as well. It's
Sure.
Yes, we do love the software that helps us see the players and place the rest. All right, here we go. Where am I going here? All right, we're going to start with. I think you may have answered it, but there was a good question about points carrying over. So if you're going from U12 to U14, what points carry over, what don't?
Yeah. So points travel up 20%, and they travel down 100%.
Okay. Points travel up 20%, points travel down 100%.
Yep. So if I'm in 12s, it's 20% of that tournament going up to 4 teams. If I'm playing 12s, I play a tournament in 14s, I win, I get all of those points going down into 12s, and then they're still on my account when I go up to 14s, as long as it's been within the last year.
Gotcha. Okay, one that just popped in my head, I don't think we went over, was concurring tournaments is a big thing. I know there's rules against it. There's some things you're allowed to do.
Yeah, good question.
Not. Do you mind just explaining to everybody what they can sign up for two if they have to draw from one, all that?
I would say, first and foremost, look at our Eastern regulations. There's a few exceptions that I would, rather than me explain right now, I would just take a look and just read what's in our regulations. For me, what I would leave it as, you can register for concurrent tournaments. That is allowed. As soon as you are accepted into one tournament, though, you must withdraw from another tournament. You cannot appear in the draw of multiple tournaments. You cannot be in the draw of one tournament and an alternate for another tournament. You can stay as an alternate for multiple tournaments, but as soon as you are accepted in the draw of one, you cannot be anywhere in the other. There are some nuances as far as if let's say I'm accepted into a level 6 and I'm waiting to hear about a level 4, or vice versa. I'm in a level 4 waiting to hear about a level 6. I think the language says you have to make that decision 5 days before the start of the tournament. But I would just leave it as you cannot appear in the draw of multiple tournaments. You cannot be in the draw of one and an alternate for another. You can register for multiple, but as soon as you're accepted into one, you don't have to withdraw from the other. If you are ever confused and you want to just check with me, I do not mind. Reach out to me and we can go through it case by case.
Yeah, I do. I think we got like an email yesterday that somebody was asking. It's better to ask you and clarify. I think.
I mean, if that puts your mind at ease and you just want that direct answer, like I am happy to do that.
And then we have a couple of 10 and under kids on the call. Do you have the Stars and Stripes numbers handy? Is that something you know off the top of your head? Like how many orange you need to move to green? How many green you need to?
It was in.
Or is it in one of your slides?
Yeah, I mean, let me just pull this back up. Bear with me, and I'll find it here. So I just not know that off the top of my head.
Yeah, I know it's like I know it's
okay, so to get from orange ball to green, it's 1,000 play points, or once you turn 9 years old, or I will call out. There is a coach assessment. That coach assessment is only to go from orange to green. It does not exist for any other advancement. Your coach through the Net Generation app can connect to you as a player, and they can advance you into green ball.
Gotcha.
To go from green to yellow, it's 1,500 green ball play points with at least 1,000 coming from wins, or once you turn 11.
Awesome. And let me throw one more. Well, this came up a couple of times just from parents I talked to. During the winter, especially, there's it's hard to get into some draws if you're new to L6s. Obviously, you can get into L7s, but what, like if your son or daughter was looking to play, what would you advise them if they can't get into L6s, they're winning L7s, or they look in different areas?
Yeah.
Do they just wait for withdrawals? I mean, just during this busy time of year.
Sure. I mean, the beauty of the open border system is that you're not bound to the Eastern section. If you do see something in New England, or maybe you're on vacation in Florida and you want to, try and play another tournament out there, that's an option. I would definitely keep an eye out for tournaments that are using alternative methods of selection. So maybe that's a first come, first serve. If I see that posted right away, doesn't matter what my ranking is. If I'm first to sign up, I'm in that tournament. Maybe it's WTN rather than NSL. I think just looking for those different types of tournaments. Maybe it's a team event. Maybe you have a better chance getting in. There's just less players signing up. So yeah, I think that's my advice there. I think also signing up for multiple tournaments and just hopefully you're getting into some. Maybe staying on the alternate list, hoping you're getting called. I think all good ideas.
All right. And we got one Q&A, Conrad. Do you have anything? We have a Q&A, which is good. Not something I thought of, but electronic line calling.
Great questions.
What's your thoughts on that?
Okay.
Is it getting better?
Yeah. So USTA has partnered with a couple electronic line calling solutions. The main one being Play Replay. As of now, that is not something that is mandated by USTA or USTA Eastern. We are leaving it up to individual facilities to implement it on their courts. If a facility has one of these ELC systems in place on all courts in use for a tournament, we do allow the tournament to charge $10 to $15 more per player to make up some of those costs. We still want you hiring a referee if you would need a referee, if it's a level 4 or an L5 charging that official's price. But we do have protocols in place. Players are allowed up to 3 unsuccessful challenges per set. Overrules work like if there was an official on the court, 2 overrules, you're in the code. A third overrule is a game penalty. A point penalty, a game penalty, a match penalty. But I'm hoping that as these systems become maybe a little more cost effective, and just grow in their usability, I'm hoping to see it, proliferate around the section. But as it stands, we have a few facilities in the section that have these in place.
Ari, if I can jump in and ask a question, a little bit more on the dark side of the game, if that's okay, because it's a reality.
Sure.
Pretty much every week we'll hear a story of something that happened, and somebody did this and somebody did that, and the referee did the other, and the other guy said this, said that. Tell us a little bit about the grievance report system, how it works, how the kind of tribunaling of that goes on, and the time spent to kind of get to the bottom of that.
Sure. So we have a grievance system, like Conrad mentioned, and a grievance subcommittee as part of our junior competition committee. The way it works, anybody is able to submit a grievance if they feel like something was not done correctly on site, whether that's your opponent you felt was unsportsmanlike in some way, or maybe you feel an official didn't handle things correctly, maybe you feel a tournament director didn't handle things correctly. You are able to submit a grievance that goes to us at the section. The way it's handled, I receive reports from anybody involved, whether that's your opponent, your official on site, the tournament director on site, witnesses, if you want to provide witnesses. And all of that evidence is given to a member of our grievance subcommittee. And then they are looking at the facts at hand, and they are making a determination whether a grievance is upheld. If there are, if something should have been done, maybe suspension points should have been assigned, whatever that, decision is, or they might come back and they say, no, this was handled appropriately. Or frankly, they might say there is not enough evidence here to make a determination. And then we would just, defer to how it was handled on site. But that's a great question, Conrad, and a great shout to the grievance system, and that it's there for you and to feel like, if something went wrong, you do have some recourse there.
So just to push on that further, how long, let's say something happens last week and I, take a week or so to write this grievance. How long is the process generally from the moment of lodging a grievance to kind of closing the case?
Sure. I would say first, make sure you submit that grievance within 14 days of the tournament. That's our deadline. And then for the committee, it's 90 days is what we give our committee. There is like a 30-day leeway in extension, so it can be up to 120 days. But generally, it's within 90 days.
Okay. I want to ask you one more question on that. It's more related to, obviously I speak to a lot of parents. I hear a lot of things that go on. How do you guys handle the universal standardization of the referees, tournament directors? For example, you'll go to one facility and they won't allow people to clap. You go to another facility and they won't allow people to watch. You go to another facility and, kids can't say, come on. You go to a different facility and it's a complete college atmosphere so it's a little bit difficult for parents to know what they're getting into. And we've had situations where kids have got, 3 suspension points for something that they've never been called on before.
Sure.
So how do you guys handle that? I mean, from a back end, I'm not really talking about the front end. It's more the staff, the TDs, the referees. What sort of training do they go through?
Sure. Well, look, I think that consistency is so important for exactly like you're saying. If I play in a tournament, like I wouldn't want anything to come as a surprise. I should know what I'm getting into, what is allowed and what isn't allowed. It should never be something that's subjective. Honestly, I mean, that comes to me and my team to make sure that we are training our tournament directors effectively and consistently, and making sure that, when Ari is running his tournament and Conrad's running his tournament, that you are getting the exact same, experience. I think part of it is at the start of the tournament, having that tournament director give a speech about their expectations and, how they are planning to run this tournament, so nothing comes as a surprise, though it shouldn't really vary like we're talking about here, though I understand it sometimes does. The other part of that is the officials, and I am not, officials are kind of its own beast, and we have our section chair of officials and an officiating growth manager that kind of handle our officials team. But I know from working with them that they look at this the same way. The training and the certification of an official is even more rigorous than for a tournament director. And they're really getting into the nitty-gritty of the rules and the interpretation of those rules. And I know that they want this consistency. but it is a struggle. Kind of a non-answer, but I think it's just making sure that whether us with RTDs or them with the officials, it's just harping on what these rules and these expectations are, and to just really make sure that consistency is like understood and like and like really drill home the importance of it.
Yeah, it's a very important topic, Benjamin. I think all parents would agree because we know that there's, especially for girls, there's a 65 to 70% dropout of competitive sport once they leave 14 and under. A lot of that can be the bad taste of an experience where something happened and they just couldn't get their heads around it. So I do hope that is a high priority for the East.
Definitely.
To maintain level. I know that there's also a little bit of a feeling that there are some other sections, Middle States is one of them, where kids go and they're getting suspension points for nothing. Like that.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I just think it's something that has to be addressed. As a parent, as a coach.
Sure.
I try to go and remain neutral all the time. It's very difficult to do. But my last question before I move on from these topics is, it's easy for someone to make an accusation, and often accusations are, as you'll find through the grievance process, unwarranted.
Mhm.
But who protects the kids that are out there? I've seen some parents that have just absolutely lost their mind, and the poor kids are listening to stuff they shouldn't be listening to.
Yeah.
I'm not sure those kids get protected that well in a lot of events. I was just at an L1 Winter Nationals. I mean, I don't think we'll ever go back to Texas. That was absolutely disgraceful what was happening down there. And I was asking the tournament director, what are the standards here? Can you show me and can you explain to us what is permitted, what is not permitted? Are parents allowed to talk to kids? Absolutely not, right? So
Never.
So, but the point is, in these other sections, this stuff's happening. So,
Yeah.
again,
Look, I think, sorry to cut you off, Conrad. I would just say, I think it's vital for our tournament directors and our on-site staff to handle these things as they're happening. Of course, if things have to come to us at the section and we need to do an investigation, like, we have the resources and the ability to do that. But a lot of what we're talking about here needs to be handled on site. And it's like, right, if you have a parent at one of your tournaments causing issues, like we've talked about in the past, right? You as the, as the facility have the ability to remove a parent from the premises. I mean, that is beyond a USTA issue, right? I mean, it's like, it happens more than I hope, than I like to admit, but you have if a parent is putting hands on another parent, right? That is no longer a USTA issue. That is a police issue. That is like, get the authorities involved, remove these people from your facility, and let the professionals handle this, right? So I think, it's important to say, if your child is experiencing an issue with another player or a parent, tell your kid, stop play, have the official come over, let them know, or as a parent, go over to Ari. Hey, Ari, like, I'm seeing this on court right now, and like, I don't know, maybe I misheard something. Maybe I'm like off base here because I'm just like from the viewing area, but like, can you maybe like keep an eye? Can you maybe like make sure everything is kosher on court there? And that way we can maybe nip things in the bud before they get to the point of a grievance.
Great answers, mate. And I hope I really mean it. I hope it's applied.
Absolutely.
To really raise education and standards
for sure. I think another thing I'll just shout out real quick, we do have upcoming some parent modules through USTA coaching that parents will be required to complete before entering their kid in their first tournament. A lot of like that sportsmanship pledge, just what we expect from you as a parent, as a player associate when you're on site, and hopefully just setting those expectations right off the bat and not letting, oh, I didn't know I wasn't allowed to coach. Like, that shouldn't be an excuse, right?
And I think it should be in writing. What is the definition of coaching?
Sure.
What is the definition of support? What is the definition of, what am I trying to say? Intimidation.
Mm-hmm.
Eye contact of parents on a player. All of those things are what you see as you get further down the line. So just to throw one at you that just came in from Kivance, who's the father of one of our full-time athletes. Really good question. What is a credible evidence for a grievance?
Sure. So a lot of times, right, I'll get a grievance from player A saying player B made bad line calls. Maybe they even said they cheated, whatever. Player B, I would write to them and their parent and say, hey, this grievance came in. And they'd write to me and they'd usually say, no, player A was the one that cheated, right? And then we have this kind of he said, she said. In this case, credible evidence would be, I would go to Ari and maybe get a report from Vita or Cynthia or whoever the official is. What did you guys see, right? The kernel of truth is usually somewhere in the middle. So credible evidence in this case would be Ari saying, well, my official said that player A actually was the one having issues with line calls. Okay, now I have a neutral third party saying, giving me this evidence rather than it coming from one of the players directly. And it also could be, just evidence. Maybe you have a peer playing on the court next to you. If they are comfortable and willing to submit a statement on your behalf as evidence, that is a neutral party. So that goes a long way as well. So when I say credible evidence, it's coming from somebody that is outside of the realm of the grievance, basically.
That's a great answer. Another question that just came in, along the lines of my questioning, are we allowed to take video of our own child playing at a tournament? I've received various allowances, responses based on the location. The videos are primarily being used for the coaches for specific development of our child at a tournament.
So I will put in the chat here exactly the language that's in our regulations. The important things to note, you need permission from the facility, the tournament director. And if the other player is being captured in the video, you need obviously permission from that other player's parent as well. But I'm going to drop the exact language in here. It's the USTA Eastern position on videotaping and photography. Just bear with me.
I mean, a personal comment on that. I think, I personally think it should be allowed if both parents agree, but be very mindful that there are situations that can occur that can blow out the story. If, let's say, a bad call is accidentally made, which we all know happens, it's a reality of tennis. Kids get it wrong. They're kids. They're nervous sometimes. They can't see it properly. There have been instances of those clips ending up on social media, which are just not nice, right? That's not the way. So for me, that would be the only negative of this rather than developmental reasons.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, that's like worst case scenario is, we see these Instagram accounts pop up, calling players out. And I mean, it's, it's bullying. I mean, it's really, not what we want to see at all. And look at the section, excuse me, if, we catch wind of these things, we report them. We have our marketing team that is a little more well-versed in Instagram, kind of do some digging and see what they can do. And, we don't want these things to proliferate at all.
Yeah.
Well, but good question.
Ari, one more from the chat before I get back to you. Obviously we had a UTR webinar a few weeks back and we answered a lot of this. And last week we also did a college pathway webinar with Scott Tribely, which was awesome.
Amazing.
So probably answered there, but in your words, what's the best way to get on the radar of a D1 coach?
Yeah, I think just I would say first create that recruiting video, get that content, created, bookmark, yourself as a player, and then just get that word out. Just pedal to the pavement. Just reaching out to those coaches, introducing yourself. Hey, I'm interested. Here's my video. Maybe invite them to one of your matches. I think just getting that word out, maybe using social media, build up that that persona. I think we have a lot of these kinds of tools and resources at our disposal. So whatever we can do to get out there, I think is great. Going to these college showcase events in Eastern and, other sections, I think just to be seen, see and be seen. And then I would just say beyond Division I, Division II, Division III, junior college, NAIA, tennis on campus, like club tennis, there are opportunities to play in college, even if you aren't going D1. So I know that question was specifically about D1, but I'd be remiss if I didn't, mention cast a wide net. Don't pigeonhole yourself. look, I'm sure we would all love to go play tennis at Duke or Stanford, right? But Connor Griff, who I mentioned, played up at Hamilton College. I mean, he had some D1 offers, but decided to just play at this D3 school, the school he really liked, academic program he really liked, was able to play, one singles, and they were a top 20 D3 program. I mean, I think that's an amazing experience, even though it's not D1.
Ari, you got any questions that came in earlier?
I got let me give you one more, just which came from a bunch of parents, just about the popular formats. We obviously run many, but it's better if you could explain to everybody a compass draw compared to a round robin draw compared to a one-day tournament for an L7, just so people can understand what's the best for them.
Yeah, so a level 7 is generally going to always be a round robin, or a round robin with playoffs. So you have players in groups. Everybody plays everybody. If there's playoffs, then, the top players in each group will then go and play a playoff against each other. A compass draw is kind of, if you envision taking a round robin and putting it into like a draw, that's kind of the idea. So you start in the East. Let's say there's 8 players. You start in the East. If you win in the East, you keep going. So the final is the 2 players that are 2-0. If you lose in the East, you would go in another direction, and those 4 players each play against each other. You win there, you go on. So the 2 players that are 1-1 play each other. And then if you lose in that second direction, you go into a third direction. So then the 2 players that are 0-2 play each other. So you're filtering into playing players of like skill. It's a nice format. I love to use it for our team events when we want to guarantee as many matches as possible. It does get tricky when you don't have an even 8, 16, 32, because if you have buys and the constellations and the backdraws, it gets a little wonky. But if you do have that even number, I think it works great. A feed in to the round of 16 or the feed into the quarterfinal would be you're playing in like a bracket, right? And if you lose up until the round of 16 or the quarterfinal, depending, you would go into a constellation bracket where you could then, depending on the tournament, play out that backdraw or just play around. A lot of times these tournaments, in addition to the backdraw, would also have a playoff for the quarterfinal losers for 5th through 8th place, and then for the semifinal losers for 3rd and 4th place. For level 5s, we have a voluntary constellation. It's the only level where that is allowed. You need to commit beforehand to playing the constellation. After the first round, the constellation bracket is created for only those players that have agreed to play the constellation. I think that's pretty much all of the formats.
Yeah, those are the main ones. Yeah.
Can I ask one quick one on that?
Yeah.
When would a Fast 4 format be suitable?
We really only do Fast 4 for like junior circuit.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. There was a 18s boys L5 doubles last weekend or 2 weekends ago where they played Fast 4 format.
It was probably, so last weekend was the snowstorm, correct?
It was the Friday of that.
And I'm sorry, I can't exactly remember, but I want to say that was shortened because of the snowstorm. It's not typically.
Yeah, it was very weird, especially because these guys are 18, 17.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that. Doubles, I mean, yeah, we do allow shorter formats for doubles, but particularly if, in like for that weekend, we knew Sunday was basically going to be a wash. So the rules for like shortening the tournament for inclement weather is to start with doubles, then constellation singles, and then singles. So that's probably why we shortened that one, but
I'm going to throw another one at you, Benjamin, just because I got you. What is the rules of number of matches that can be played in a day?
Yep. And
timing that the last match can go on for that day?
Okay. I will do timing first because I have my regulations pulled up. Latest start time guidelines. In the 12s and 14s, matches should not be scheduled after 9 o'clock. In the 18s and 16s, should not be scheduled after 10 o'clock. This is on days not preceding school. In the 10s, junior circuit, not before 8 o'clock. If it's a night preceding school, It is 6 o'clock in the 10s, 12s, and 14s, 7 o'clock in the 16s and 18s. There is also something called the excessive delay limit rule, which means that players, so if a match is scheduled, let's say for 10 o'clock in the 18s, that match can go on up until 10:30. After 10:30, unless both players agree to play, that tournament director must reschedule the match for the next day. So it's within 30 minutes of the latest allowable time. For the maximum number of matches, this is found in Friendly Court. It's table 8. This really depends on the age division, well, whether 12s or 14s, 16s, and 18s, and the format of the matches being played. So a tiebreak in lieu of the third set, for example, for 12s, it's 3 singles matches. For the older divisions, you can do 3 singles and 1 doubles. Best of 3 tiebreak, it's two singles, or for the older, 2 and 2 singles, 2 doubles. So there are some variables there. That's page 87 of Friendly Court.
And as a tournament director perspective, we typically try not to run more than 2 matches in a day. The third will be, extenuating circumstances. But yeah, that's
For sure.
that's what
I think 3 is usually
good to have the option.
pushing it. Yeah. I mean, I think most tournament directors are not putting 3 in a day unless they absolutely need to, especially for the younger kids.
Yeah, exactly. Just with a weather delay or something.
Last one I've got that came to you by text.
Mhm.
When is coaching permitted in the East? After what levels? After split sets or
So it doesn't matter the level, it matters the format. So new this year, before a third set tiebreak, there is a 3-minute coaching break. That is new. That we had never done that in Eastern before. It used to be a 3-minute non-coaching break. So before a third set tiebreak, 3-minute coaching break. Before a full third set, a 10-minute coaching break.
Wow. Okay.
And that is the only time coaching is permitted.
Right. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but for the 3-minute break, it's an on-court coaching, right? I think
Correct. That is correct. I mean, and I would leave that to the official and the tournament director because, look, if you're in a bubble versus an outdoor banquet court, like the feasibility might, depend. It might differ depending on the exact layout of the courts. But yes, generally, you should be on-court coaching breaks.
And the tournament director is able to say, this event, we're not doing it? Is that there?
No, that is required. I mean, if...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent to know. This is really useful information. I mean, we get a lot of parents that are watching who are acting as coaches.
Sure.
That are running around. Am I allowed to coach? Am I not allowed to coach? Is it 3? Is it 10? Is it? So, yeah, that's good to clarify that.
No, absolutely. And look, if any questions come up, please feel free to reach out anytime. I will send Ari and Conrad the slides that I went through today, so you could send those slides out. And please feel free to send out my email as well for Nina and Connor on my team.
Yeah.
If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out anytime.
Awesome. All right. Thanks again for everybody for joining. Ben, thanks for your time. It was great.
Absolutely. Thanks, everyone, and have a great rest of the week. Stay warm.
See you guys.